Violence in Colombia continues. At least 6 soldiers were killed, 8 were injured, and 4 others are missing after an attack in Antioquia. Also, another social leader was murdered in Arauca. The Russian government warned that its country must prepare for a possible aggression by the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Ivory Coast's new Vice President Tiemokomi Kone took the oath of office on Wednesday before the Constitutional Council, a day after his appointment to the post, which was vacant for nearly 2 years. Hi, this is From the South. I am your news anchor, Diego Martin, from the TeleSUR studios in Havana. We begin with the news. The violence in Colombia continues. Authorities are reporting attacks against the military personnel in Antioquia, plus the murder of yet another social leader in Arauca. At least 3 soldiers were killed, 8 were injured, and 3 are missing after an attack in the department of Antioquia. An army report says that a group of soldiers were attacked with explosives on Tuesday night while they were moving through the village of Nutibara. Authorities blame the incident on a cell of the drug cartel Clan of the Gulf. In another act of violence, social leader Wilmer Hernandez was murdered in the department of Arauca. According to reports, Hernandez was taken from a school and later found dead with a bullet injury in his body. Thus, he became the 57th social leader to be assassinated in Colombia this year. And Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro laid a working day to advance in the strengthening of national livestock production. From the Miraflores Palace in the capital city of Caracas, the president called on world producers, communities, and international investors to double their efforts and planning efforts to guarantee in the short term the increase of production throughout the country. The president also spoke about the nationals who returned to the country through the Plan Vuelta a la Patria.
Venezolana, para con esfuerzo propio echar adelante a Venezuela. Y vamos a abrazarnos con los venezolanos y venezolanas.
Venezuela set a new Guinness record Wednesday after making the longest line of chocolate bars in the world in Caripito, a town in the eastern state of Monagas. The president of the foundation Funda Tierra, Leodis Gonzalez, announced the international organization's verdict on her social networks. The 854-meter chocolate line was formed by 4,300 bars placed back-to-back and verified by Guinness experts. 607 people participated in the event. The organizers of the competition said that the initiative seeks to promote the production of chocolate in the country. Funda Tierra has set 3 other Guinness records related to the product, the coin, the tasting, and the largest chocolate floor tile in the world. At least 273 Venezuelan migrants returned to their country from Peru through the government's plan to return to their homeland. Venezuelan Foreign Minister Felix Plasencia said on his Twitter account that these citizens will join a new stage of professional and labor growth. So far, 774 Venezuelans have been repatriated from Peru this year, and more than 7,500 since the implementation of this mechanism. Since its inception, the Return to the Homeland Plan has reinstated more than 28,500 Venezuelans to their country from several nations like Argentina, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Mexico, Dominican Republic, and from European countries as well. The 30th International Book Fair opened in Havana with Mexico as the guest of honor at Cuba's largest literary event. The opening ceremony was attended by Cuban President Miguel Díaz-Canel together with the Aztec delegation headed by Alejandra Frausto, Secretary of Culture of the Government of Mexico. Frausto congratulated the Cuban president on his 62nd birthday and highlighted the historic ties of friendship that unite both countries. She also recalled the presence of the largest of the Antilles in the Cervantino Festival and the medical aid provided in solidarity to face the COVID-19 pandemic. The president of the Cuban Book Institute, Juan Rodriguez, confirmed the efforts of Cuban cultural institutions that worked on more than over 900 new literary releases for the Great Literary Event, which will last more than 10 days at the San Carlos de la Cabaña Fortress as the main venue. Over 2 million Brazilian retirees are waiting to receive pension benefits because the far-right Bolsonaro administration refuses to hire the workers needed to process new claims. In Sao Paulo, our correspondent Mariah Meyer with the reports.
Brazil's far-right government has been butchering funding for essential public services for years. On March 23rd, federal retirement system workers went on strike demanding better working conditions. After successive refusals government to negotiate, on Monday, a group of workers occupied the Social Security Superintendent's office in São Paulo.
Today, it takes people months to begin receiving retirement benefits. There's a backup of 2 million applicants because the government is refusing to hire the 23,000 workers needed to process the workload. We're also asking for 19% salary adjustment to cover losses due to inflation over the last few years. We aren't even asking for a raise, just an inflation correction.
On Tuesday night, a São Paulo judge issued a 100,000 real fine for each day the workers continue occupying the building, and an order for the military police to forcibly evict them. But until now, the workers have refused to budge.
The police may kick us out of here, but they can't make us shut up. We're going to go to different neighborhoods to explain to the people what the problems are and what our position is and why we aren't going back to work.
With no negotiations in sight, for now it looks like the strike is going to continue for a long time. Brian Mir, TeleSUR, São Paulo.
South Africa's government sought to reassure a worried public about efforts to help the East Coast, where millions remained without water more than a week after deadly storms pounded the region. Following a declaration of a national state of disaster, President Cyril Ramaphosa dispatched top ministers to the city of Durban and KwaZulu-Natal province, where at least 448 people died and 40,000 were left homeless. More than 600 schools were damaged by the floods. Education Minister Angie Motshekga, after inspecting damage at some schools in Durban, estimated that the damage had $30 million. Also, several hospitals reported that files were lost or damaged, raising fears among patients with chronic conditions. Pravin Gordhan, the Minister for Public Enterprises, said that Durban Shipping Terminal, the second largest container port in Africa, was fully functional. We're going to take a short break. Please join us again after this. Hi, and welcome back to From the South. The Russian government warned that its country must prepare for a possible aggression by the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. During his speech at a meeting of the Board of Directors of the Council of Science and Education of the Eurasian nation, the deputy chairman of the country's Security Council, Dmitry Medvedev, pointed out that in the current tense situation, both the scientific and technological spheres play an important role in ensuring the security of the state. In this regard, he stressed the need to advance in innovative developments and research in order to maintain the country's defensive capabilities and counter the most serious threats it faces. These statements are based on recent statements by Sweden and Finland about their possible entry into NATO. Russian President Vladimir Putin ordered a review of Moscow's position within the World Trade Organization to counter illegal sanctions imposed over its special military operation in Ukraine. Putin told in a televised government meeting that Western governments broke WTO rules by imposing politically motivated import restrictions on Russian products such as steel and other metals. Russia is one of the world's largest exporters of raw products such as rolled steel. The president instructed his ministers to find ways to stimulate domestic demand and for Russian steel in order to keep factories running and preserve jobs. He also said Russia's steel makers could be supported through long-term projects and programs that benefit demand and economic growth. Putin added that inflation will go up and the well-being of European consumers and ordinary consumers will decrease.
At the same time, I would emphasize the importance of domestic demand. It needs to be supported and stimulated. First of all, by increasing the volume of housing, infrastructure, commercial and industrial construction, through the wide production of goods that use metallurgical products.
Russian President Vladimir Putin stated that Russia will act consistently to make sure that life in Ukraine's eastern industrial heartland normalizes. Speaking at a meeting with members of a state-funded nonprofit designed to offer social lifts for Russians from all walks of life, Putin pledged that government will act consistently and make sure that life normalizes and will change for the better. The head of state has said that hostilities in eastern Ukraine prompted Russia to launch a special military operation. He said the idea to perform the national anthem and to raise the Russian flag in schools in Donbass would be demanded.
The tragedy that was happening in Donbass, including the Luhansk People's Republic, forced Russia to start this military operation everyone knows about now. First of all, the goal of this operation is to help our people living in Donbass.
Russia's Ministry of Defense said the first test launch of a Sarmat intercontinental ballistic missile was successfully carried out Wednesday from the Plesetsk Cosmodrome. The new missile is reportedly capable of hitting long-range targets using different flight trajectories. According to the Defense Ministry, the missile has unique characteristics that allow it to overcome, with guarantee, all existing and prospective missile defense systems. The ministry also considers the Sarmat as the most powerful missile with the longest target range in the world and will significantly strengthen the combat capability of Russia's strategic nuclear forces. Russia's Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova warned Wednesday that Kyiv is dragging out the negotiation process and resisting constructive work.
Negotiators are doing everything to resist this work, constructive work, in the sense that they're using their favorite tactics, dragging out, refusing earlier reached interim agreements, public disavowal of what was agreed upon during the talks. Today, a Russian representative said that the next proposals were given to representatives of the Kiev regime who participate in the negotiation process. I'd like to disclose the date when these materials were given by the Russian side, on Friday. It's Wednesday now, no response has been received so far. This is how the negotiation team of the Kiev regime behaves.
In the newly liberated port of Mariupol in the Donbass, the population is gradually recovering its life amid ruins and daily needs. Clashes with Ukrainian Nazi battalions and mercenaries continue, but reduced to the Azovstal steel complex. Our special envoy Alejandro Kirk was there.
Always insists. Likewise, too, the population of Mariupol begins to be reborn from its own hell. The task is gigantic. As usual, it all starts with the simplest of things.
Well, peace. We all want peace. We all want peace. What to do? Just dreaming. The world doesn't need anything else. We're going to rebuild. We want to rebuild our own. These are all windows that are already crawling on their own. We want to live in peace with everybody. What should we do? I'm old. I'm in my 8th decade.
The spectacle is tough. Aegean forces to improvise cemeteries like this one right next to a shell crater. There can be no greater desolation, yet people pass by, busy.
Well, so far so good, because I was far away from the explosions, but now everything is closer. We as the military when the war will end, waiting for the victory, before Easter. Let's make sure there will be a victory. We will have it.
Solidarity with Mariupol became a cause of honor in Russia. Large shipments or simply a few bags. Relatives look for their people and sometimes they even find them. The question is, why all this? Where is it going?
Well, the first feeling here is not a thought. It's just an emotion. It's an anguish so far that it still makes me cry. And I have come here on purpose. I'm not a government man. I'm a producer, a poet, a sculptor, a designer. Let's talk about Russia. This is the territory of Russia. Russians in this territory don't want to live as the United States dictates. That's the whole conflict. All the propaganda is American. All this was done by the Azov regime, shooting people on purpose, setting people on fire on purpose.
Sky thunders, sign of the last Russian assault on the fascist stronghold. After that, it will be peace, at least here. Cristian Inostroza and Alejandro Kirk, Mariupol, Donbass.
We have more news coming up after one final short break. Please stay with us. Hi and welcome back. Ivory Coast's new Vice President Timoko Melit Kone took the oath of office on Wednesday before the Constitutional Council, a day after his appointment to the post, which was vacant for nearly 2 years. On Tuesday, in front of deputies and senators gathered in Congress in the Ivorian capital, Yamoussoukro, President Ouattara announced the appointment as Vice President of Mr. Konya, Governor of the Central Bank of West African States since 2011. He was also Cabinet Director of Prime Minister Guillaume Soro between 2007 and 2010, Minister of Construction, and then Special Advisor to President Alassane Ouattara in charge of economic and monetary issues. The post of Vice President, enshrined in the last constitutional reform of 2016, had been vacant since July 2020 and the resignation of Daniel Kablan Duncan for personal reasons.
I am aware of the honor that has been bestowed upon me. I am also aware of the responsibility of the task that is now mine, and which I intend to approach by your side with humility and determination.
In France, presidential election candidates Emmanuel Macron and Marine Le Pen face off Wednesday in a televised debate. It is Macron's first and only debate in the framework of this presidential election, which is being broadcast simultaneously by public and private television channels. The debate consists of 8 blocks with special focus on the economy, security, and migration topics. This is the second time that both candidates have been eligible for a second electoral round, as well as the second time that both have participated in a televised debate. In the United Kingdom, a British court issued an extradition order against journalist WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange to the United States. Westminster's Magistrates Court in London issued a formal request to the United Kingdom's Interior Minister Priti Patel to proceed with the extradition of Assange. According to experts, the cyber activist's defense team can still resort to the last appeals of the case. The Australian activist and journalist risks 175 years in prison in the United States for disseminating secret Pentagon files, which exposed war crimes committed in Iraq and Afghanistan. On Wednesday, dozens of Assange supporters gathered outside the Magistrates Court to demand his immediate release.
We are coming to the end of this long legal battle, where the danger of extradition is more and more imminent, and where all of us, we must redouble our rejection of this persecution and our solidarity towards a journalist who is criminalized for telling the truth, a precedent that endangers all journalists in the world.
On the extradition of journalist and WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange to the United States, his spouse Stella Morris said the following.
Has no obligation to extradite Julian Assange to the United States. In fact, it is required by its international obligations to stop this extradition. Boris Johnson and Priti Patel, don't extradite Julian to the country that conspired to murder him. Boris Johnson and Priti Patel can stop this at any time. They can stop it today. They can stop this nightmare today and return Julian to his family. They can do the right thing and enforce Article 4 of the US-UK extradition treaty, which prohibits extraditions for political offenses. Right now, they're in breach of their own treaty.
Also addressing the new developments in the case of Julian Assange, the Bureau Director for Reporters Without Borders in the United Kingdom, Rebecca Vincent, faced the media and supporters of the Australian activist, demanding to put more pressure on the British institutions involved in the case.
This has always been a political case, but as Stella says, this is now 100% again a political decision of the UK government. We have about a 4-week window to attempt to influence the Home Secretary. Now, we can't undo the more than decade of persecution and the suffering that Julian Assange has faced simply for his contributions for journalism, for publishing information in the public interest. That can't be undone. But what we can still influence is what happens next. It is not too late for the UK government to now do the right thing, to act to protect journalism, to protect press freedom, to adhere to their own international obligations and their own stated commitment to champion media freedom globally. That cannot be done with Julian Assange sitting in Belmarsh prison, where he never should have spent a single day.
We've come to the end of this news brief. Remember, you can find these and many other stories on our website at TeleSUR English. You can also join us on social media for all the latest news. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Telegram. For TeleSUR English, I'm Dio Martin. Thank you for watching.